Hi Rosa. So this is going to be a quick overview on how to use my recorder. And I'm going to just give you a shot of this tripod first, and then I'll be showing you more detailed things from an overhead shot of the controls. But this is the tripod. Everything on this is very self-explanatory. It's got little things you pull out to pull the legs out and stuff. And there's this little area here is how it screws on to the recorder, and this piece actually comes off, but you shouldn't have to take it off, but just in case it falls off, um, just know that you can put this piece back on top of here if it falls off. And then the neck goes up and down, so you can get the exact height that you need. And I did look it up, and it said that the best height for recording a cello is generally at the level where you're bowing at, and then 3 to 6 feet away from that point. And I am providing these studio quality headphones with a very long cord on it. You don't have to use that, of course, if you don't want to. Incidentally, I'll be sanitizing everything before I give it to you. So, including the recorder, everything else, just in case you are worried about that. But like I said, if you don't want to use these, you can use your own, headphones or earbuds or something. But firstly, I'll just show you. So this is the recorder here, and it will just screw on top of the tripod. So it's best to hold it sideways and put it on, and then screw it down pretty snug. Whoops. And anyway, I was also going to tell you that if don't worry about damaging anything, because things happen, so I'm not going to hold you responsible for anything. I trust you, But anyway, so you just screw that on top, and then in the front of the unit, there's 2 microphones. They're stereo microphones. These are very high quality microphones. They're omnidirectional microphones, so they record all around them at different percentages. Your recording should actually sound exactly like it sounds if you're right in the room with you. And so this thing is pretty much just kind of an elaborate microphone, because once you've made a recording or several recordings in here, I will take that and mix it down to the final mix down master track, as they call it. But everything that you'll do is pretty simple. The manual for this is very long. It's 102 pages long. I'll give you that on PDF file if you want it. But most of that stuff you're not even going to be using. What you're going to do is just a simple recording or several simple recordings, your preference. And so let's see, what else did I have? I had quick notes here. Okay, well, I'm just going to start showing you some overhead shots of how to turn it on and how to, hook everything up and get it ready to go. And then we'll go from there. Okay, stand by. Okay, so here's some basic things. Here's the volume for the headphones right here. You probably want that all the way down before you plug anything in. The headphones, that is, because it could make a pop sound. Usually doesn't, but... And then the headphones go right into this little hole right next to the volume here. You also want to make sure that this button here is on microphone instead of guitar, because if it's on guitar you won't
it won't initialize, or it won't actuate the two stereo microphones up front. So make sure that's in microphone. And then this is for the power. This make sure this stays in because it does like to wiggle out, and if it does wiggle out while you're using it, it may not save the very last thing that you did. This thing also takes batteries. If you want to use batteries, just let me know and I'll give you some fresh batteries. I've never actually used it with batteries, but apparently you can. So then turn on the volume, or the power switch, I mean, which is right here. You have to hold it for a second until the screen starts to come on. Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to do is hit this button here, which is the menu button, and then it'll go right to song. You can move this wheel around for different functions, but you're only going to be interested in song. So put it on song, and then you push this button here, and then it gives you different options to do within the song world. Load is if you're going to load a song that you've recorded and you want to play it back. But you want to go to create to begin with. And so go to create and push this button again. And then it's going to ask you to name it. So you can use this wheel here to change the characters of the name. This moves the cursor around, these arrows here. So this thing is, it'll probably say song number 1 for you when you start, and you can change it to anything you want. The only thing that you can't do is rename 2 different songs the same song, or name 2 different songs the same song, and it will tell you can't do that. So when you've set up what you want the song to be called, then you hit execute, and it says it's storing and creating a song. At this point, you can, after it's done with that, you can go back, or you can just go to home. Okay, so then you'll see all these zeros. It means it's ready, that you're going to be creating a new song. So this is the most important thing. This thing always defaults back to low input, so you have to change that. So right here there's a button. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little bit here. There's a button here, it says input settings. So you push that, and then on the screen it'll say in A and in B. This is A and B. These are your inputs, which are the 2 microphones. A is left, B is right. So they say low, so you want to use this wheel and change it to mid. Okay, that's usually the best, is mid. And then make sure they are both changed, because otherwise one will have less volume than the other. When you've got them set to mid, you can hit exit, and it's already it stays there when you hit exit. But the thing is if you have to create another song, or you go out of the song you're creating, it's going to default back to low, and that's very frustrating, but it just does that. So once you're in that mid range for both channels, then you can individually change them even more with these 2 levels here. This is the master. Make sure the master stays all the way up to 10. Okay, then you don't have to worry about that. And you change the individual left and right by moving these A and B. But generally, because it's stereo, you want them to be at the same wherever you decide. So if you look as I'm talking over here, these little things are going up and down. What you want is, there's a line that goes across here. So just generally, you want your softer notes to be below the line, your middle notes to be around the line, and your louder notes to be above the line. But what you don't want is this situation. If you look back over here, I'm going to clap. you don't want those red lights coming on. And if that happens, that just means that you have too much input. So you can just back these down and make sure they stay the same. And you can get rid of those lights from coming on. You know, if they come on just like once or twice quickly, okay, that's not a big deal, but you just don't want them coming on a lot. And that's it. So once you have that all set up like that, all this stuff down here is for playback. So you don't have to worry about that right now. And I'll get to that when it gets to playback. Okay. So now you're ready to go to record a song. So these are the two tracks. And a lot of people get confused between input channels, A and B, and tracks, okay? I guess I don't really have to explain all that, but just remember that in order to get stereo, you're going to have to record onto both of these tracks, okay? So you've set your input settings. You made sure that input setting with this button was all set up to mid, and everything sounds good. You're not going to hear anything in your headphones yet until you hit these two record buttons right here. That's for these two tracks, okay? These two tracks you're not going to worry about. So once these are flashing, now you should be able to hear something through your headphones that you have plugged in here, which I don't have any plugged in right now. But and if you don't, just remember your volume for your headphones is over here, so that may be all the way down. So now it says it's ready to go, and now you just treat it like a regular recorder. You know, you hit the record button, which is this red one here, and the play at the same time, and it's recording right now. And so it's recording my voice. You'll see a bunch of little graphs going up, bar graphs. And so when you're done recording, you just hit stop. There you go. These will flash again, and so just turn these off. Now you've recorded a song. And at this point, you can rewind it and listen to it through your headphones. Just, you know, like a regular player. Just hit play and it'll play back. If you don't like what you hear, you can rewind it, play around with the inputs a little bit. You can even change the overall input setting until you get something that you like, and then, you know, that's it. Or you can also, at any point, hit menu again, go to song, go to create, and then rename another song. It won't let you name the same song twice. I might have already mentioned that, and then execute it again. And what that does is it will save the last song that you did, so you don't have to worry about saving it. And then it's starting you on another one. And you can do that as many times as you want. You can do it 5 times and have 5 songs. Just make sure you execute it. But when you do that, don't forget you have to do the input setting, because it will always default back to low. So for your next song, you have to start that whole process again over, and then that'll be good. So anytime you get lost, just go back to home, and you can. Oh, here's another thing: is if you've recorded more than one song, you can hit menu and go to song, and then just move this wheel until it goes up to load, and then hit that, and it'll show you all the songs that you've recorded, and you can just select one, and then it will load it for you, and then you can listen to it. So that's how you get to each individual song you've recorded. And that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And also, if you are making any noise during, or before or after, moving around or getting ready or stuff like that, that's fine. Don't worry about that. I just edit that out. That's totally normal. That's usual. So you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go back home. And then when you're all done, you just turn it off right here, but you got to hold it for a second. And what that does is make sure everything you did is saved. Okay? And then once that shuts off, then you can unplug it. And it's everything saved in there. So that's it. One thing I forgot was that these playback, when you're playing back, this is the pan here for the 2 tracks. So if you want to get the best stereo sound for playback, put this one all the way to the left and this one all to the right. Okay, if you have them in the middle, they'll just be more mono sounding. And then this is the volume of each ear for playback only.
Okay, well that's pretty much basically all there is. And if you have any questions, go ahead and email me or whatever. And call me. Also on Skype. I did sign up for Skype. I've never used it before, but it looks pretty easy, so no sweat. And otherwise, if everything looks good, then we can make arrangements to get the equipment to you and also to pay you your payment. So I look forward to talking to you soon. Over and out.